Welcome to Savepoint, where we discuss video game news and topics that you suggest to us in the YouTube comments and on Twitter using hashtag Savepoint. My name is Ryan Shepard.
And I'm Nicholas Rubio.
And today we thought, instead of discussing your topics like we would normally do in our nice little bowl, that we would discuss Gamescom. Because the press release date just passed, and we figured we'd talk about the news from that.
In Cologne?
In Kulaganagada.
It's in Germany, right?
Yeah, it's Germany.
Yeah. Because I remember Hideo Kojima walked out on stage and was like, Guten Tag, and then no English or nothing after that, straight Japanese.
You know, it's like when that happened, I almost thought that no one was going to interpret from him. Like, I thought he was just going to talk in Japanese for like 5 minutes and then walk off the stage.
That'd be great. But like, I felt like it had to have been translated and like given, because there's no way, like, translations how they normally go, like it's a little bit and then the translator translates. Like, he talked for like 5 minutes and then the guy started hearing. Like, there's no way that guy remembered, you know?
I mean, maybe he's just really good at his job, but you know what, that was an odd thing about Gamescom, is it seemed like nobody rehearsed, because a lot of people who went up there kind of tripped on their words or kind of like started.
Well, they were reading off a script on the ceiling.
Yeah,
if you looked like there, you could see them.
But even when you're reading off of a prompter, like you've rehearsed it once so that you don't, or a couple times. But whatever, that's besides the point. The interesting thing about Gamescom is that we have expos here, we have E3, we have PAX, we have stuff like that. But when that happens, like maybe like 17,000 people go, like that's a pretty big number.
The entire population of gamers of Europe show up at Gamescom.
Because that's it. Because that is the convention for Europe, is Gamescom. So like this, I mean, I might be exaggerating, but I think Gamescom has like 100,000 people go.
No, you're not. I think that was last year's turnout. I have no idea what the turnout
some
for this
countries don't have 100,000 people in them.
Andorra?
Very, very small countries, but still, a lot of people go to Gamescom.
Yeah, I mean, and it's mainly because of their well-developed train systems and stuff. You know, that's they can all everybody like, hey, let's go to Germany today. Fuck yeah, like
that would never happen in the United States. Like trying to gather 100,000, I don't know, maybe the Super Bowl or something. How many people go to the Super Bowl?
Probably a lot, and then people like hide outside and shit and tailgate. I don't know, it's expensive.
It is expensive.
Anyway,
that's totally besides the point.
Gamescom.
All right, so we saw the press conference day for Microsoft and for Sony. So we'll start with Microsoft and then move on to Sony and talk about everything and, you know, share some opinions based on that. So what do you think? What do you start? Microsoft, I felt like they had... I just want to start off, I didn't think either of the companies brought big things to Gamescom. This kind of felt like this is all the stuff we showed you at E3. Here's some more of it. Yeah, here's a little bit more. And I think it's just because we're in this odd placement of the cycle where the new consoles came out. They announced the big titles that will be coming to the consoles soon. But if you remember back to E3, most of the games we saw said they were coming out in 2015. So unless they're going to go to Gamescom and then announce games for 2016 and 17, which would be kind of silly to do now, all you can do is talk more about those games you already announced.
See, like, for me, this whole thing was kind of like, they're just trying to push sales because their consoles just came out and they want as many people as they possibly can, both of them, to buy the consoles. You know what I mean? Like it felt like it didn't feel like Gamescom was showing games. You know what I mean? Like, it was more about, here are some games that are coming out for our new consoles that you already know about, but we want to like show you some more so we can make sure you go out and buy them.
Yeah,
you know what
here's
I mean?
some more. We want to keep it in your mind, and also
like
kind
next year, I feel like it'll be more.
You want to keep it fresh,
pushing IPs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I guess right now they're just trying to keep it fresh in everyone's mind and give a little bit more to go on.
They did show Quantum Break though, which I thought was really interesting. I'm getting kind of tired of games being so dour, like in gray and very, like, because that was the really, like, it kind of felt like Watch Dogs again. Like, it was you know, Chicago, and it was dark and it was gray, and then this game was you know, everything was dark and drab and gray, and
you get a gray, dark, muted color palette.
And then there's that one
Call of
color.
Duty.
There's that one color that sticks out, and their resource bar and like their UI is bright orange, so it was kind of like, God, come on, give some more light. So, like, and I thought the mechanics were pretty cool. The whole stopping the time, and then, you know, we haven't had a good time controlling game. I think the last one was
Prince of Persia?
No, the time shift one, the one that, like,
I didn't play it.
I just bought it on Steam, so I haven't played it yet. The curse. Anyway, but it felt really cool how he would pause and then he would he'd pause time, and then he would go to another side, and then the enemies would kind of be like, whoa, like where'd he go? Like they were confused, like they were still kind of shooting, and you know, like they were like, how the hell did he get over there? And it was pretty cool. And then he would speed it up, and then like somehow do like a 360 kick to the head. I don't know. He's some martial arts master scientist man.
Yeah, it looks interesting. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have Sunset Overdrive, which is like all the colors you could possibly imagine, super poppy, vibrant colors everywhere. And I what I like about it so much so far is that like it doesn't take itself seriously at all. Like it knows it's cartoony and it knows it's over the top, so it sort of celebrates that.
That's what they said is their whole drive is that fun trumps realism. That's their like philosophy going in. Yeah. Like that's what they've already said. And you know, there does need to be games like that. All the games that are like we need to be super hardcore realistic. Like I'm tired of that. Like let's have a good mixture of both. You know, stop being overbearing with one.
No, absolutely. Like there is a place for hyper realism in games, and then there's like times where you just want to have fun, which I feel like is a lot of the joy of Nintendo's games because it's a very strong escape. It's very cartoony. It's a very almost like happy place sort of center, you know. And I'm actually looking forward to that game. I like that almost like Tony Hawk like grinding system that you move throughout the city. It looks a lot like Dead Rising and sort of the hordes, but their enemies are a bit more interesting, I think.
Now they showed off the robots. Like there were like these giant crazy robot machines. Basically the corporation, I forget what the corporation is called, but it sent out all these robots to kind of liquidate their assets.
Yeah.
Haha. Plenty funny play on words for their fizz overcharge.
Yeah, because it's actually a drink and they're liquidating it.
And then after that, I think they went on to Halo.
Yeah, Halo was like a super main focus here, which is smart because Halo and Xbox go hand in hand. They showed off the Master Chief Collection, which I think looks really impressive. I love how they redid all the maps, and the fact that they give you the option to go back to the old maps, which they did with Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition, where it gives you both, gives you preserving the original multiplayer and redone maps, which looks a lot of fun. I'm actually super excited for that.
Yeah, that, like I said, I was talking to you before about how this is really going to revitalize Halo for multiplayer.
Yeah.
And until Halo 5 Guardians comes out, because they are going back to the roots, because that's kind of what Halo 2 was it was that arena shooter where everybody started off on the same footing. You had to control the map, control your weapons, you know, very Unreal-like and very fast-paced. And I really think like Halo 3 and Halo 4, while the multiplayers were fun, the competitive scene was very difficult to be in because there were so many factors, you know what I mean? So Halo 2 being able to play on that level again and with all the original engines and stuff is really going to bring back a lot of stuff.
I think that's really interesting, but I'm also a little worried too because they said they're preserving all the original glitches too, which like if you know all the glitches, you could just destroy people in Halo 2. You know, so that part's going to be there. But something I think is really funny is, like, have you ever played, like, Halo 3 or Halo 4 with someone and have them be like, man, this would have never happened in Halo 2. Halo 2, I would have kicked your ass. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, put money where your mouth is. We're going to go and play Halo 2 now. So at any point it gets boring, just switch to the multiplayer for one of the other games.
And then, what's it called? One thing to kind of quell your concern is Microsoft has said that like there's the whole ranking system. So when you downvote somebody, so if somebody's cheating and you downvote them, they're basically going to play with other people who are in the same rank, level. So I mean, the hackers will play with the hackers, and
hopefully it works well.
It'll weed them out.
And the whole Halo channel idea seems really interesting. One of the things that I love that they put in there was the Twitch competitive overlay. That looked really nice. You know, it showed players playing multiplayer Halo but with a Twitch feed, and they had a nice like graphic interface on top of it with the scores and the player names and everything. And I just think that's like a nice touch.
Yeah, it definitely looks nice, and I like how they're going to be, putting out content with the Nightfall. Is that what it's called? Halo Nightfall.
That's the live action series.
So like as you're watching, stuff like that, and as you're watching other stuff, you unlock more content inside of the actual Halo channel. So it's really a Halo lovers playground.
And not to mention the fact that in December, the beta for Guardians goes live, so that's awesome.
Yeah, when they show that little interactive video of them everybody getting ready to like fight on that one map, like and they showed like the team designing all the maps and stuff. Like it really like brings hopes back for that great arena shooter that is kind of gone from today's scene. Like it's not very there anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for that. And after that, of course, they showed Tomb Raider, A little bit. Like, we don't really get to see most of it. Mostly just the idea that they said the game was going to be exclusive, and then the internet exploded angrily.
Mm-hmm. People who don't have an Xbox lost their goddamn minds.
Mm-hmm.
So
look, I understand from one hand the fact that Lara Croft has been on PlayStation from PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get why you might feel kind of betrayed because you have that sort of sense of loyalty and everything. But on Microsoft's ends of things, it makes sense because exclusives are what drive a console in so much that it gives the console the personality. Like, when you think of PlayStation, I don't think you think of the box. You think of the experiences and the games you played. Mm-hmm. So exclusives give it that sort of personality. So I see that Microsoft's not doing so great right now. They're limping behind in sales, and I think they wanted something that really was a driving thing, and that was an exclusive title from a third party. Now, we already know that it's just a timed exclusive now.
Yeah, I felt like it could have been way more tactfully done. It could have been... they really should have just come out and been very straightforward with it and just said, this is a timed exclusive, or this is play here first on Xbox.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been a softer blow. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course. Yeah, they did... Their verbiage very much made it seem as though it was a exclusive.
I mean, personally, when I heard that, I was like, it's just going to be timed. Like, in my rational gamer mind, it's going to be timed. Because that's all the other stuff that you always heard from, like, for PlayStation. Every time you heard about a PlayStation 4 exclusive, it was really just some timed exclusives that we would have
here's
to
the thing, is first-party exclusives make sense because they're being funded by the company. Mm-hmm. But it's just really not viable anymore to make a third-party exclusive because you're cutting out literally millions of potential customers by making a game exclusive to one console. I mean, it's damn near suicide in the games market now. You're just cutting out way too many people out of your potential buyer base.
Pretty much. Like I said, it could have been more tactfully done, and I really feel like people shouldn't have reacted the way they should have. They really should have, like...
That's what always happens.
They should have waited and been like, okay, they should have known... These are businessmen talking about business. Mm-hmm. So when you hear exclusive in the business world, it doesn't always, you gotta kind of, like, read around the lines. Like,
yeah.
I didn't honestly believe it was going to be an Xbox just exclusive for the rest of its natural born.
But now that we know it isn't, that's pretty much a moot point now, But I think that pretty much wraps up Microsoft.
Yeah, for Microsoft, I can't really think of anything else.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to Sony and PlayStation. I'm trying to think of I can't remember the order of things, like what came first.
Ironically, I think the first thing they showed was the order.
Oh, really? They showed.
Yeah, order.
I might have missed some of that. I'm still excited for that game, but my excitement's fading a little bit.
Yeah, and then they showed some Bloodborne gameplay. That kind of made me excited because I really like the Souls games, and it's basically the spiritual successor to those games. They showed a lot of indie games. They really kind of hit you over the head with the indie games. Like the creator or one of the developers would come out and he'd give his little spiel, and then it would go from indie game to indie game without a pause in the middle. Remember how I said this wasn't supposed to happen, was it?
Yeah, it was weird because they would have a developer come out from an indie company. He would introduce his indie game, and then they would back to back roll other indie game clips with it. You're like, did he develop all these?
I was kind of expecting him to end and for him to talk about the game because the Children of Tomorrow, I know nothing about that game. I know that it kind of looks like Age of Empires, but with cutesy little Russian people.
And that was the thing that sort of happened throughout that conference was that I saw these trailers and it looked cool, but I have no idea what kind of game this is. Mm-hmm. They showed the game Rime, which looked like a adventure sort of maybe platformy puzzle sort of game, but I have no idea. Are there enemies in the game? I don't think they showed any enemies.
I don't think they did either.
I was watching it with Nick, and I jokingly said they spelled Myst wrong because it just looked like all it was an adventure game, where you're just basically taking in the environment.
The environment narrative, pretty much. And then after that, they showed just an onslaught of indie games. They showed so many. It was hard for me to internalize all the ones. I know there was kind of a shooter one, where you're flying around in planes. It kind of looked like Gauntlet, but with airplanes.
They're really beating us over the head with the indie games. We get it. PlayStation is very happy to be home to indie games. They showed that game Hellblade, but they just showed a cinematic. like, I don't really care for cinematics anymore because they don't tell me anything.
The only thing that I can gather from Hellblade is it's going to play like Heavenly Blade and Devil May Cry, which are very hack and slash, very, you know, kind of like Bayonetta, very, you know, you're going to play through a level to get, you know, the highest score possible and get the best points, you know, whatever, throughout the game. So I feel like that's what it's going to be like. Other than that,
they showed the bit for Metal Gear, but when Hideo came out,
yeah.
But I don't know how I felt about it. Like, all it was the box dynamics, which seems really weird to even devote time at Gamescom just to talk about like one feature of a game.
It was definitely fan service, I think.
Yeah.
Like I really don't. I think the real reason why Hideo Kojima, because we spoke about this at length about how I couldn't believe how Hideo Kojima came to Gamescom to talk about a box, you know, like box physics. Like, but I really think he was really there for the big reveal of Silent Hill, which was not explicitly, you know, announced. It was shown through a thing called PT, which was a playable teaser, is what that stands for.
You're like, wait, what is this? What is this? What is this PT game? Like, I was so confused.
Yeah, and it's a game you can download right now on the PlayStation 4, Sony, Microsoft Network Store, whatever you call it. And you can play through it. And I watched a clip of some people playing through it, and it seemed, you can definitely tell it was a Silent Hill game because the story bit that it would give you, and then at one point you hear sirens going, and it's the fucking Silent Hill sirens. Like, if you ever played a Silent Hill game, you know, like, those sirens are bad, and that they, you know, and the whole playable teaser thing was scary as shit. It was creepy. At one point, there's this like the deformed fetus in the sink crying. Yeah, and it's covered in blood, and it's pretty crazy.
Oh, and after that, we definitely have to mention what they showed for Far Cry. Looked great, beautiful looking game, but more importantly, the keys to Kyrat feature.
Yeah. I felt the whole keys to Kyrat thing was very gimmicky. I'm glad that they went that way rather than here's stuff that you can only get on PlayStation 4 and everybody else, you know, you're not going to be able to play this content. Yeah. I'd rather it be the way that they did it, where you can give your friend a key. The way it works is when you buy it, you get 10 keys, you give it to your friend, and even if they don't buy the game, they can jump into your game and play with you without even downloading it.
The thing that like made me go like and kind of, you know, like my face looked like this was when they said free trial. I really didn't like that phrase, because when I think of free trial, I think of computer programs where it's like, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. Like, you're going to be playing Far Cry or something, it's like, oh, you can't walk over there.
You ran out of bullets.
Oh, you can't use that gun, it's free trial.
Yeah, I feel like that is...
But I mean, it's still a cool thing to do.
Yeah, it is. But to me, if you're going to play Far Cry, most likely your friends are going to have bought Far Cry. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the only real like reason I can see this as being like, okay, let's see how good of a game it is. You buy this, and then you give us the key, and then we'll try it out.
Yeah, exactly. Let me get a taste of it, and if I like enough, I'll buy the game.
But I don't really feel like that's needed, because Far Cry is Far Cry. I mean, it's... Play the third one.
Well, I mean, there are always people who haven't played a franchise. Like, you gotta, like, people are still being raised now. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta think that, like, it's not just for people who've been playing these games for a while. Someone who's never played a Far Cry game could be trying it for the very first time.
They could be. I just feel like there's been too many opportunities. It's like spoiling the ending of BioShock Infinite. It's been too long. You know.
I mean,
Jaws dies at the end of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool. I like that. But then what else is there?
They showed Wild, which they didn't show too much of, but it looked really cool. I kind of wish that the developer talked about it. I think the only indie developer who actually talked about their game was the Tearaway, and that was really exciting. You know, because for those of you who don't know what Tearaway is, it's a PS Vita game that you can buy now. I mean, it's been out for a little while.
Sorry about that. Our camera just cut out. So if you want to summarize what you just said real quick about Tearaway.
Anyway, yeah, I really liked how they showed all the features for Tearaway, and I would kind of wish how all the indie developers would have done exactly that. Is explain it. Show less and get me excited for more.
Yeah, explain the dynamics of the game and all the cool, interesting stuff. All right, after that, just Destiny, some new features, some exclusive content for PlayStation 4, but I'm pretty sure the experience is going to be damn near the same across the consoles.
Except for PC. They don't get to experience anything.
Yeah, well, but I think that just about covers the Gamescom press conference. If you want to share some of your thoughts in the comments, we would love that. And if you have any questions, any topics for the next Savepoint, that'd be great too. And we might give out some...
Nosgoth.
Yeah,
Nosgoth beta codes.
Yeah, so some codes for Nosgoth for people who leave us comments if you want to play that game.
And in the stream.
Yeah, on Twitch what you call it?
Twitch, the T with a V, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining us so much, and we will catch you next time on Savepoint.